Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the flag salute.
Where's the flag?
Where's the flag? It's over in the corner. Oh, wrong spot.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You are right.
Has to be your bills that these are you.
We can take care of it. Thank you.
That was from Friday night.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Caucus.
Here.
Mrs. Casio. Here. Mr. Ranieri.
Here.
Mr. Lobenstein.
Here.
Mr. Farrell.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly.
Here.
Mr. Root.
Here.
Mr. Wood.
Here.
Mr. Bayshore.
Here.
And Mr. Diorio.
Here.
And Mr. Wozunk is here also. Okay, public notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been given by the clerk in the following manner. 1, posted on the bulletin board in the Borough Clerk's office on January 3rd, 2019, and 2, emailed to the Retrospect and Courier Post on January 3rd, 2019. New business for this evening. It's a public hearing for ordinance 1911. Which one's 1911, Joyce? I don't have my notes.
I have it. I don't have it.
Which one is that?
Public hearing.
Is that the roof height?
Could be the roof, but I don't know. But I'll know the numbers when I do.
I'm sorry. Candy was on.
1911, is that the roof height for R2?
That's the R2s.
Okay, all that does, if everyone remembers, is R1 and R2, both of those residential zones will be allowed the same size height garage. For some, we missed it, and it was just we're just gonna clean that up. A resolution authorizing property maintenance liens, obviously we all know what they are. Refund for an overpayment of taxes, a resolution for county co-op copy paper, thank you note from the Bayshore family. We're very sorry to see her here, your situation, everybody knows. Bid for the reconstruction of the roads. You know, I think we should jump on this one because this one is a good one to jump on. So there was a bid opening today at 10 o'clock. Mr. Bayshore, you want to just quickly tell everybody what happened?
We received bids today. We only had 2 bidders, but it was competitive. Charles Marandino is the apparent low bidder. The second lowest was Lambert Construction. And it's in my report that I just handed to you. I also emailed it out earlier today. But Charles Marandino, the base bid was a little under $337,000. If you add in the ad alternate, and I'll get into what each one of these is after I go through these, is $407,000, and the ad alternate 1 and 2 along with the base bid would be $450,642.40. The base bid was a continuation of Schisler Circle, and that comes around to Woodland Avenue.
So it comes all the way out to Clemens
And
Bridge
we go
Road.
out to Clemens Bridge Road. The other part of the base bid is North Rowan at the intersection of Shepherd and the softball parking lot. We're looking to put some stone in there. So that was the base bid. Ad alternate 1 is half of North Rowan Avenue. And ad alternate 2 would go all the way, the rest of North
So
Rowan.
it's North Rowan from Clemens Bridge Road to Shepherd, including that whole.
If you do everything.
Okay,
If
all
you do
three
everything.
is North Rowan from Clemens Bridge Road to
the
Ballfield to Shepherd, that whole intersection.
whole
When you say the parking lot, you mean where the Girl Scout building is?
No, it's
No.
talking about where the
So-
fence is, where you go back to the fence.
Right.
Oh,
With
okay.
parking.
Access the
Rowan.
park, access,
back to the lake.
Rowan, yeah, oh, okay.
because that intersection was in terrible shape. So that was,
Intersection, that was part of the base bid.
that was part of the base, and then it was half of Rowan and then the rest of it.
Correct.
So Rowan's costing us about $100,000, is that what we're seeing? About 100?
Yeah.
114?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So if everyone recalls, we got $375,000 from the DOT to do this in a grant. You don't have to pay it back. We put $187,000 in the current bond that the council approved, that is now past its estoppel period, so that the different POs are going out. We had to repay ourselves $62,500. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
So we had to give $62,500.
I think it was 62,000.
It might have been 62,000 even. We had to repay a previous bond because that's just the way it worked. We had to pay something off because that was the design work, all this work to do all these roads was the $62,000. So we've spent, so now that takes the 172, brings it down to 125. We spent a few dollars in here. I'm going to recommend that we approve this entire package, all $450,000. Because there is additional costs for the engineer to do inspections, so obviously there's still inspection costs. His inspection cost basically is under the 500. We spent a little bit, But what I'd like to see us do is, I know there's money in other road bonds, that we can use that other road money bonds to plug any holes into this one. Is that allowed and accurate?
Yes, do you want me to do an ordinance?
No.
3-hour paper?
No, because there's existing ordinances that do roads.
Right,
So what I'm saying is you have an existing ordinance that says roads.
yes.
You on this, John?
Yeah.
There's existing money in roads bonds.
Right.
Can you give an example of a road bond, what year it was? Is there one in 14 or 15? Or am I too far back? I don't have my
Yeah,
notes.
it's sooner than that. We had, I misunderstood what you were saying. We had $53,761 left in 2018.
Okay, so last year's bond that we did for roads, there's $53,000 left over from that previous project. And what is the reason it's left over? Then, you know, we got grant money,
We got grant money, the CDBG.
certain things.
Money that came in unexpectedly, we transferred some of that to building improvements.
So there's 53,000. So there's more than enough money to cover the incidentals that we use in the current bond. Now you say, why did we use the money in the current bond already this year? Because the current bond was written in a way that gave us more flexibility. So right now, we're fixing 440 feet of stormwater pipes that cost about $5,000, a little more than $5,000 to do it. You couldn't take the money out of the road because it's not a road, but because our bond council wrote it up saying, well, you can use this money for stormwater, we're allowed to take it out. Is that accurate, what I just said, Jim?
Yes.
So, John, once again, we used money appropriately. So the money that was in the stormwater bond, we're using for stormwater. The money that we need additional for this road, we've got 53,000 left over from last year. So once again, think of it this way, guys. We're borrowing money and not spending it all. We're paying interest on it, we pay all the stuff on it. We need to close out our previous stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I agree with Mr. Dury 100%. It's nice to have that money sitting around because something comes up. So that's what I think we should do. The reason I hope you guys are all excited, I mean, it basically, the bid came in, exactly what our engineer said it was gonna cost, basically. About $6,000 or $7,000 under. So we're gonna do everything we thought we were gonna do. And what this does for us also is, we have a current application in right now to continue Rowan and Highland for next year. When the state sees that we're doing all this work, it's gonna make our next application, I think, look a lot stronger.
Yeah, I'm strong.
Because hopefully we'll get another 375 next year and we'll finish this project. So hopefully, Joyce, does everyone agree with that we approve this entire?
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Okay, and you're okay with that transfer to just clean up whatever money's left from that 18 bond to cover what's missing in 19?
We've already spent about $7,500.
So we'll reimburse ourselves $7,500. Just think of it as different pools of money.
No, we've spent $7,500 out of the new road money for Shissel Phase 2.
I understand. Okay.
This month.
Okay, to cut the trees down and do that kind of stuff. So we could take some of the 53 to pay ourselves back.
Yes.
Okay, or to pay fees or costs. Signage for the building, POs were generated for some of the signage. So we finally got some signs going to be going up recently for, on the building and some directional signs. The Board of Education has now been added to it, so we have some signs going up, so just letting everybody know about that. And then we'll go right to the $25,000 grant award. If everyone did get the email, we did win our recreation grant this year. So if everybody remembers, the $25,000 was for a lighting down at the Green Acres, what we should start referring to as Beaver Branch Park. So Beaver Branch Park now has $25,000 for lighting. What's that?
No, I'm just.
You can't say Beaver Branch?
That's the name of the park.
It's a tough one.
I've known it as Green Acres all my life.
I know, it's terrible. How do we break that
I
cycle?
have no idea.
Okay.
Green Acres.
I'm going to have to wear headsets.
Green Acres.
Dress up as a beaver and have a party.
So let's,
You said beavers down there, I think. That's.
no, it's the name of the tributary.
No,
What's
there were
nice
beavers.
about this grant,
But there is a tributary called Beaver Branch.
we'll be able to put the lighting, I don't know where yet. Do we know where we want to put
So
the
we
lighting?
only just learned about this, so we've started to talk, some of the members have talked, and now that you're here, we're all talking about it. The idea that seems to make sense is, if we got some money for lighting, it should start at the beginning of the park, and go as far back as we can go to the bathrooms, maybe to the soccer field, maybe to the parking lot. So we'll see how we can stretch it. Mr. Wozon can start to look at light fixtures. Ideally, we buy solar powered light fixtures, which means we don't have to put wires in or anything like that. We simply have a concrete footing and we bolt these light fixtures up. But what council does have to do is currently the park is a dusk to dawn park. So if we put lights in, what good are lights if it's dusk to dawn? So
So we would change the ordinance.
typically in Runnemede, there isn't an ordinance, but we can create one.
No, I mean, is there currently one for dusk to dawn or not?
I know the sign says it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's illegal.
I don't have any.
We have no idea. The point that I'm making is that we should legally change it. I think we should legally, council should have an ordinance that says Beaver Branch Park, AKA Green Acres Park, is open from, I don't even know. You know,
Okay, listen, can we put it, right now, okay, I shouldn't say that.
I understand what you're saying. It's,
Okay, so right now, there's no lights. So now, we want this park to be open from dawn to dusk, not dusk to dawn.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, Chris, right?
Dawn to dusk.
So you can do this one thing. Until such time as there is appropriate lighting, Beaver Branch Park will be open from dusk to dawn, from dawn to dusk.
Okay.
At such time that lighting is installed, it'll be open from dawn till your time.
Okay.
I don't think it-
We don't have to make it this second,
See what I'm
but,
saying?
yeah.
I can do it in one ordinance. So
And then we can
put the
clean it
lights
up.
on. When we put the lights on, we don't have to change the ordinance.
Okay. You hear what he's saying?
Yeah.
It's one ordinance that takes care of it, because the argument is that, remember, in the wintertime, it's dark at 5 o'clock. So with these lights, you know, say we want to keep it open till 9. You know, you get home from work, you walk around till 9 o'clock. There's an activity going on, it gets dark. Parents at least can make their way out, because, you know, people take too long, they get to the parking lot, and they can do it. I believe with the
We're not
25,000.
gonna be doing the fields.
No. These are ancillary lights, right? I mean, you know, the lights.
The lights on the flat roof light.
Yeah, just around the bathroom and get into the park.
Well, we do the fields.
I was under the impression that you were going to be doing lighting by the fields.
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is get in.
Yeah.
Now, once we get in, the field lights are gonna be a lot more expensive. Now, Jim,
We should do the curfew,
what's the curfew?
Yeah, why?
whatever our curfews are.
That's a good point.
Yep.
But see, the curfew, if you're, have supervision, if there's a game going on, you know, curfew, you're with your parents, there is no curfew issue. You know, that's what I'm saying. If there's a soccer game that ends at dark, it gets
Yeah, we don't
dark.
have, you're not having soccer.
It starts, it ends.
Yeah.
Once you light the fields, then you'll have to revisit.
Well, then, yeah,
Yeah,
the fields
change
are
it.
lit, that's a whole different story.
So the only thing I will say about the 25,000, we don't know if that's enough. Now, this is a question for Mr. Dioria. We have other buildings and grounds money. So remember, the way all these bonds are designed, they're designed for specific things, but they also have language that gives them a more broad aspect. So under buildings and grounds, I believe, if we want to do work down at the park, or any of our parks, and we have money left over in our buildings and grounds, say, for example, we need another $5,000 to do these lights. Jim, how much money is left over in the buildings and grounds bond from 16 or 17? Do you have that number? That's the reason I asked you. I knew you had a spreadsheet.
Are you talking about the 3 items that reference Beaver Branch Park?
No. I'm talking about an open bond that says buildings and grounds from previous years, not including the current one. So you have a current one with how much money in it in 2019? Say $80,000?
Recreation?
No. Buildings and grounds. There's no money in buildings and grounds left over?
Various improvements to Mr. Johnson, just that recreation and equipment.
Isn't there one that says various buildings and grounds ADA improvements? Isn't there one that says various ADA?
For building and parking lot and entry.
Okay, but that's a building and grounds one too.
It's not,
That's what your label says various.
I'll have to, right, various buildings.
Okay, so how much is in that? How much is in that?
24,000.
So there's other monies around in other ones. You see what I'm getting?
I'll have to read the
Absolutely.
ordinance.
We have to review the ordinance. We review the ordinance to say, make sure it says buildings and grounds, then we can use the money on different things. Now, the reason I bring that up is, I know it happens sometimes. We don't always have enough money to do it, and we should have some, what we call prudent reserve money to move around. And I agree with Jim that there should be money. So when we're doing this thing, I think what we need to do, you talked about the locations. We need a committee to go down there. The engineering committee, anybody wants to go down there and go figure out the light. I think Harry started to talk to some vendors. They can look at it. Of course, we could bring our engineer in to get their opinion, and then we see how much these lights are going to cost to get it done.
Are there any programs that you're aware of that PSE and G with solar? Solar, it's worth exploring.
Okay.
Solar's only jumped on there with a lot of shade.
Well, it's funny you say that, because Mr. Ranieri had a great point about that. The light doesn't have to be on from 9 o'clock, from dusk to dawn. If it's on for just a couple hours, it's good enough, because we only want the light to be on until, like you said, we make the curfew 9 o'clock. Someone gets home at 5 o'clock, in the winter time, they walk it, and they get out of there. So what's the worst thing that happens? The light goes off. And then it's, and it charges, right? Isn't that what we kind of said? That it only really needs to be lit
Couple hours.
while the park is open. Does that make sense?
I'm
Just
hearing a lot
before
about,
dusk.
I'm hearing a lot about the lights.
Ordinance for the curfew.
There is an ordinance?
How many lights we got on this table? 2?
Yeah.
There's something wrong with our lights? Where are they at?
We're not the only people using this place, so,
Well, we used to have more down here.
well,
Here you go, John.
If you're into looking at other ordinances, it says here you can ice skate on the lake. Are you interested in that? Allowing that to stay there?
Absolutely not.
Chapter 260,
Absolutely.
you're not allowed in the park between
need a
dusk
sign
and
saying
dawn, except
Alright.
if you're there for upkeep and management.
I'd like to talk about Green Acres for a second. Beaver Branch Park. A couple meetings ago, I brought some pictures in here of the entranceway there and how unsafe it is to walk. I haven't heard the mayor talk about it, but I've given plans to Harry, to the mayor, just conceptual plans that we need for a few reasons. But I'm hoping that these lights go in, these accent lights go in as you walk into the park with a safe walking area to get from the end of where the track ends. It just dumps you into the street. I don't know if anybody knows that. There's no way to walk. You're walking in the street, you gotta look behind, any cars coming, where's the dog, So I brought that information in before. I'm hoping that these lights go in along with the path, and we light the path along the way, a beautiful walking path behind a guardrail, which Harry has the pictures, all the way up to the bathrooms. That's what I'm visualizing, these lights going in, along with that project, not just throwing some lights in.
I agree 100%. The idea is that this is the catalyst. It's all about money. So by having this 25,000, by having money in buildings and grounds, and it doesn't stop council, once again, from allocating money for these activities. It is council's decision where the money gets spent. So once again, all this money that is either left over or even appropriated, currently, you guys appropriated $497,000 last month. I told you 187 goes to the roads, but if you remember, there was money that went to public works, there was money that went to buildings and grounds. There's a building and grounds line item, which how much is it for the 2019? Is it $80,000? So there's money in this year's bond. So if you guys, even though we might have said, hey, we're going to use that $80,000 to do carpets, if this group says they don't want to do carpets, we don't do carpets. I'm trying to really make this clear to everybody. It's the decision of the elected body where the money gets spent. So if this path is a priority to this group of people with the $25,000, I know she get mad at me, and I'm only going to say it just to make it. I don't care if we never do carpets, if we prioritize it. I don't say we're not.
You said in this band, you said that there's money for grounds?
Doesn't it say buildings and grounds?
It's for interior furniture.
Okay, do you have do we have the bond ordinance from, do you have that actual language?
I have it.
Can I have it? Can you pull it out?
Yeah.
And it's $20,000.
Okay,
There you go.
thank you.
The right page.
Okay. Completion of various improvements to the acquisition of various equipment for municipal buildings, offices, and grounds, including but not limited to an HVAC and office furniture, together with the acquisition of all materials, equipment, and completion of all work necessary. Grounds, there's 80,000 in that right now. Is that correct?
That $80,000 is split up.
Once again, I'm arguing that council makes the decision where the money gets spent. Even though we might have discussed that we would do these things, I'm saying if a priority changes, if something comes up, the idea of language being, more open allows us to
We want
do
more
something.
options, less restrictions.
Yes, I'm not saying not to do the HVAC, I'm not saying not to do the carpet, I'm not saying that. You know me, I want to invest in everything, but I'm also not accepting the answer no anymore. I'm not accepting that anymore, that we can't do things,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so once again, there's $25,000 grant, I think we start looking at that, I agree with John 100% that we don't just,
Look at the lights, right?
but his point is valid, you don't just look at the lights. Where's the path gonna go?
Right.
Where's the extension of the path gonna go? So we don't put lights up and then do the path. I think we need a plan that shows all this stuff, where the path goes, where the lights go.
It's not taking years.
The path grant, there is path grant. Trails,
25,000 has to be the lights.
that's a grant for the lights, but we can supplement it, and that's.
Have the money,
We
let's
have,
do it.
okay. So, a couple other quick ones to just go over. So now that leads us into the last thing that was brought up today, the finance meeting. So currently, we have monies that are from previous bonds. Some of the bonds go back to 2008. So no, what John, and there's a logic, there's money in the grant that says recreation for $5,000. Now, if you read that bond for recreation, it specifically says the bathroom. Doesn't that $5,000 specifically say the bathroom?
I haven't read them.
Okay, and your notes though say bathroom. I think it says bathroom.
It does say that.
Okay, so John, your
It
argument,
may be vague.
it could be vague also, but remember what he just said a few minutes ago though. If it says bathroom, John, do you have $5,000 to spend on the bathroom? You think you can use it for the path. If it says bathroom, can you use it for the path?
Path right at the back.
That's right, and it's going to.
So my recommendation is this evening, and I did talk to the CFO and the treasurer, these bonds from 2008 and 2009, over 10 and 11 years old, there is $15,000 left over in those two bonds. Jim, tell everybody, those bonds, the 2008 bonds already paid off, correct?
2008 is going to be paid off, and the 2008 is paid.
It is paid off.
It was paid off last
It
year.
was paid off last year, so we've got money that we paid off already that we haven't spent. So we've already paid it back, we've already paid interest on it, and we never spent the money. So what I'd like to do is get it off our books. I'd like to take those three amounts that equal about $15,000, add it to an existing public safety bond, and get this fingerprint machine for the police department. Is everybody aware that we have a fingerprint machine issue?
Oh, big time.
Okay, the police department, you guys know this, you guys might know this, the fingerprint machine's very old, the police department is, they want to get this resolved.
It wasn't in their capital plan.
It was not in their.
Probably should have been.
It probably should have been. If you would like, we can go beat them later.
No, but we should make sure that we move in the right direction each year.
Certain things yes, certain things no. So the point though that I would say is that we put ourselves in a very precarious spot if we don't fix the fingerprint machine. So what we would do is do a bond ordinance where we close out those three bonds, transfer the money to a one that says fingerprint machine, and we buy the fingerprint machine. So it does take a little.
25.
No, I think it was,
Down 17
I think it was about
They got it
17,000.
down to 17?
Yeah, I think that's what Samolsky said.
Yeah, I think it's about 17,000.
It only does 8 things.
No thumbs. It's not a thumb machine.
A month ago it was 25, now it's 17.
Well, they did their due diligence.
That one does toes. You don't need the toes.
At least it went down.
It went down. So what we would have to do is Jim would contact our bond counsel for a nominal amount of money. Now, what do I mean by nominal? They have standard hourly fees to do this ordinance. They write up an ordinance, they check it. Since the bond's already paid off, there's no bondholder who's going to be mad at us that we bought a fingerprint machine instead of the bathroom because it's paid off. Transfer the money, buy this fingerprint machine. And that'll take care of it. Is there any questions on that?
No, I would just like to caution everybody, we've been spending a lot of money, we're getting a lot of things done. But as Jim and I were talking today, our bond debt, our current bond debt, 2 bonds, will not be paid off till 2030 and 31. So, you know, we're used to every so often paying off a bond debt, paying off our debt. Now, we got 2008 paid off. There's a long period of time now where our debt is gonna stay, we're gonna stay indebted with these payments until they're paid off. So as we accumulate more debt, we're not paying anything off anytime soon. This is one thing that's everybody's attention.
Okay, but we do make bond payments every year, correct?
Yes.
So every year we are paying a portion of the bond off.
Nothing's falling off soon.
And I understand that, but typically, we're allowed to do bond anticipation notes for a period of time, and we're only paying the interest on the money.
Understand.
Okay, so we're allowed to do that, and that's typically what we've done before, we do bond anticipation notes. What I'm talking about is spending money that we've already
I
borrowed.
agree. Let's
You
get it.
know, why did we borrow money and not spend it?
Let's get it
Okay, so that's all I'm saying.
down.
I'm not saying, you know, this 2008 bond had nothing to do with Jim or Greg. That's been here for 11 years.
Yeah.
So get it off our books and move on. So that takes, if everyone's okay with the fingerprint machine, the bond transfer, Jim, he can start that process of transferring it. Okay. We already talked about the road work. There was a note from Jim, I'm sorry, I didn't read the whole thing, but I knew you were talking about outside employment. You were talking about you want to remind everybody what you were just talking about, because I forgot.
Yeah, it has to do with trucking. Is that the email that you?
Yeah, it was an outside employment, the rate, to change the rate by $5.
Right, currently for the police department, I think we bill, we pay, I'd say $50. We pay the police department $50, we pay the guys $50, and we charge straight $50.
We pay the guys $50 an hour, and we charge Triton $50 an hour.
I think the amounts may be a little different for EMS. I think it's $40. But legally, we can't do that. We need to at least charge them enough to cover the taxes associated with the salaries.
Okay, have you reached out to Triton and tell them we're going to change our fee?
No.
Okay. I mean, I'm okay with it, I think, I agree with them, you know, we're paying taxes, and we're not getting covered. We typically don't charge an administrative fee, but we should at least get covered our, you know, it's not FICA, but it is,
We have to, because we can't have taxpayers.
but they don't get Social Security, the police department.
They get state tax dollars, any tax.
But I mean, there is a cost for us. We don't pay a matching federal.
We pay personnel, but there's state, there's unemployment, there's different.
Okay, those. Because police,
So you're looking at $60 an hour.
no, he's saying 55, I think.
Five?
So $5 an hour would
I
cover,
don't think they'll object to that.
oh, we have to tell them, and we have to.
And the EMS would be $5 as well.
Yeah. So if you recall, at another previous council meeting, we talked about outside employment ordinance.
They can check, they just want to provide services.
Okay.
We have to do that.
Is there, are you going to reach out to the school?
No, I think what we should do at this point is update the draft outside employment ordinance that we passed around. I don't know if everybody saw that.
Yeah.
There's an existing outside employment ordinance. What that does, it establishes the fees at the DMV, it establishes the fees for road work, it establishes the fees.
We just did that.
We just did it, but we didn't adopt it yet. So we need to add EMS and this additional charge.
Okay.
We'll have a whole schedule, and then we'll adopt the ordinance.
Okay.
So we'll do that, I don't know if we can get it done for September, but maybe. It's a nothing. We'll do
I'd
first
like to
reading.
get it done before the school year starts.
Well, that can't happen.
Oh.
Yeah.
School year starts this
And,
year.
30 days and all that other
So
stuff.
I think September 15th is the first event, football game.
Yeah, we'll do our best. You understand though, Eleanor, this has been going on for decades. So he found something that we should have done a long time ago. We're going to fix it.
Captain Sampolsky says around there for 18,000, 17,500.
Okay.
So,
That's fine.
Oh, for the fingerprint.
yeah.
And then the last thing that Jim pointed out, and something we've talked about, we haven't done in a while also, is a salary ordinance. All it is a range of salaries. By law, we're required to have it. And I think we might try to do that for first reading next month, this coming week. It's just a draft ordinance. It's pretty simple. All it is all the employees of the borough.
What is your media?
It's already done. I think he's got it. He's got the spreadsheet done.
I just need you to respond, approving the numbers.
Yeah, I think everybody in council needs to look at it again. And both of these will get distributed again, so you gotta check your emails over the next 7 days. So at least we can get the salary ordinance and the outside employment ordinance done.
Do you want me to send it to council?
Yeah, please. In a format that Glenn can look at too, so it's an actual, right, an actual ordinance.
And do not respond all.
Everybody knows that.
Make a response.
There is,
From me.
so I have
Blind
I
CC.
have my worksheet with the numbers that has been distributed.
We'll convert it into
Make
a,
sure that those numbers, you agree with those
I think they're all agreeable, unless you want to make a change.
And I'll put it into.
Yeah, just put it into a salary ordinance.
Okay.
And then obviously, the bond transfer, it may not happen, I think it should try to get it happen. Alexis told me it's literally an hour, you know, to do a,
I'll find out, maybe
Yeah.
we'll have it for the next.
for September. So you see what that does, because it's gonna take time to introduce the ordinance, do the reading, and then get it done. So is that answering, because there was some this is the finance questions. John, are you okay with everything we just said about finance? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of driving a lot of this stuff, but anybody can, you know, push back on me if you think I'm 100% wrong.
Everything sounds good.
You know, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at debt that's been sitting around for 11 years. I'm looking at projects that, you know, it's a great argument to say that the fingerprint machine should have been part of their capital expenditures. One of the things I think Jim's working on for next year is we really should be doing our capital and our budget at the beginning of the year. We're not doing it until June. The year's halfway over by the time we get it done. So if we can start, you know, John's point, right? If we don't have a lot of money to borrow next year, maybe it's a minimal bond year. And there's nothing to say, there's other towns that do bonds twice a year. There's nothing to say we can't break it up if we want to break it up. You know, remember, when I say bond, I'm intermingling it with the word bond anticipation note. So it may just be an authorization from council to go borrow the money. We have authorization for Jim to go borrow money. That doesn't mean he runs to the bank and goes gets the money that day, correct? He only gets the money when he needs to pay a bill.
That's right.
So council can authorize it, and sometimes we wait a year before we've actually written a check. But he's got to be able to certify the funds are available for him to write the check.
Well, that's what happened with the squad.
It's set for,
It's that money's set.
yeah. So, as long as you guys are all, you know, it may seem like I'm, like I said, really driving a lot of this stuff, but my attitude has really changed towards this idea that if there's a priority that has to be met, I want to meet it. You know, I'm not saying that I agree to everything. You've been in meetings with me where I don't agree with a lot of stuff. So, but I think a lot of stuff makes sense, you know, to do these kinds of things. Joyce, you'll still get your carpet. I was just making a point that, you know, I don't want Joyce to run me over when I.
It's recorded now.
It is recorded. You know, now we'll go around the table. Is there any other questions for me before we move on? We are going to have a closed session because we've neglected something else. We've neglected some personnel and contractual issues that we want to resolve. So to the audience, we'll have our public portion, and then we'll have a closed session. We won't do any business after the closed session. We'll just have a closed session. We won't take any action. Yes. So we'll go around the table. Ms. Passio?
Thank you, Mayor, thank you, Council. This coming September 28th, we'll be having our townwide yard sale, and that will be on a Saturday from 8 to 2. There's no registration fee. Rain date will be Sunday, September 29th. You can put your wares out whenever you get up in the morning, I guess, start. And then please put them away, if whatever you didn't sell, and then put it out on trash day, or put it back in your basement or wherever. We did have National Night Out, which
Can I
is,
stop you on that one? Are you
Sure.
advertising at all?
of course, we're going to advertise. I'll advertise on Triton Channel, what, 19?
I just think that's what makes it successful.
And also, yes, and also, there's a woman that I usually communicate in the Courier.
Okay.
Also, the Gloucester City News. Also, it will
Run an ad in
be,
there, you have money to run an ad in the.
well, I generally don't have to run an ad. Usually Dale will just put something in there
Okay.
that stands right out on page 2 or whatever. Right, Dan? Thank you. And through the news media, our webpage, our Facebook pages. So, believe me, I've already been getting a ton of calls anyway.
They know about it.
They already know about it. It's in our newsletter. They're waiting for it. So they're happy about that. There is no registration. So please, don't worry if you didn't give us a call and tell us, I want to put my stuff out. Don't worry about it, just put it out and enjoy yourself and have a fun day. And like I said, we do have a rain date, which is September 29th, the very next day. And hope we have beautiful weather. Also, National Night Out was wonderful. The Green Fair, did we talk about that before? No.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know, everything does. The Green Fair was a big success. We had a lot of giveaways, we had a lot of contests and about sustainability and
There's about 700 people there. It was big.
yeah, there was a lot of people, the most we've ever had. And we'll be doing it again next year. And Harry had a lot of stuff, Public Works had a lot of stuff for sustainability, so it was a great time. A lot of teaching. We also had Homeward Bound was there. We were talking about our feral cats. We have a cat community, so we were trying to teach people that were coming by about our TNR program that we do have. And I do want to mention something that Homeward Bound has, and I think it's really neat. So I don't think a lot of people know about it, but it's called Rent a Dog Program. So it says, come into the shelter, tell us that you would like to participate in a Rent a Dog program. You can call Homeward Bound at 856-401-1300. And you can take a dog out for the day and get it out of the kennel and take it home. And they say most of the time, people wind up adopting those dogs. They have certain dogs that are available for the Rent a Dog. So John, I'm going to tell Mary Jo about this program, and
I think it's a great program.
I think it is too.
Somebody who's considering a dog or companionship,
I think
they don't
it's-
have to commit to it, they
I
can
know.
try it and see if it works.
I
It's a great
think,
idea.
I think it's wonderful. So, give it a try if you're really interested in having a dog or just for the day, so again, it's 856-401-1300. And Nick, I'm telling Lisa about this also.
Yes.
So expect a dog at some point. So, with that I say progress.
Mr. Ranieri, do you want to keep going?
Yes, I will.
There we go.
Thank you, Mayor, Patty, Council. Good evening, everybody. In an effort to speed things along, I'm just going to go through a checklist that I have here. There's a lot going on. Last week, the mayor, the chief, Harry, and myself had a meeting with two representatives from a structured learning program that's working with Triton, Highland, and Timber Creek. We will be working with special education students, and they have a work coach, and we'll be working with them in many of our borough departments on various projects. Looks like a great program that'll help prepare many young men and women for the workforce. Looking forward to that. It's a good program. Reimagine Runnemede has completed their first mural. If you haven't seen it, take a walk across the street and check it out. Mark your calendar, October 17th at 5:30, we will be having a dedication and unveiling ceremony. We're going to have local food from our restaurants, some of our best restaurants, and beverages will be served. Don't miss it.
17th.
And then where?
Ken Studio,
Oh, okay.
Ken Leap Studio,
Okay.
right across from the Borough Hall where the mural is. If you want to know more about it, give me a call. Let's see. Big thank you to the mayor for loaning us his scaffolding. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
That worked out really well. That's very nice of you. And a big thank you to Eleanor for helping paint the wall and also helping us become a nonprofit organization. Thank you. And also, the Reimagine Runnemede painted a parking lot mural at Green Acres. You're going to want to go check that out. It's pretty cool. And I want to thank everybody for turning out for that. The mayor, Patty, Harry, and myself are working on securing our bronze certification for this year. And next year we'll be working towards our silver. Right, Harry?
And that'll be in 3 years, correct?
Bob Farrell, the mayor, Mark, Harry, and myself had an engineering meeting. And to our great delight, we received our stormwater and sewer management preliminary mapping plans. Not complete, but they're very timely and helpful because we're about to start phase 1 of our stormwater retrofit plan.
Go this way.
Yeah.
I'm almost done. The mayor just yesterday approved the proposal for one of our vendors for the materials for phase 1. Now, this is from that June 20th storm, so a lot of these homes that went underwater, we're trying to help them out, and we're trying not to hesitate, we want to get to it right away. So we're looking at phase 1 is the removal of the Crescent Avenue. Actually, I'm going to read it. The scope of the work for phase 1 is to remove Crescent Avenue from the existing overloaded storm drain and run an independent 18-inch line from Crescent to the closest waterway. This should help a lot with the homes that were affected by the June 20th storm. This is just phase 1, and the rest is progress. Thank you.
John, Ms. Kelly, I promise next month we'll go this way. Good.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, we had a wonderful week last week with our junior police academy. We had 27 recruits graduated, and council was there to help out with the certificates of graduation. We had a full house. Whenever we do anything with the kids, everybody comes, and it was wonderful. The kids had a ball, and our kudos to Sergeant Burns and his staff. They did a wonderful job. And then, of course, continuing on with a wonderful week, our police and fire department won the New Beginnings tournament. What a great day. What a great day. And if you go into the lobby, you'll see it's a huge, huge trophy. And we took pictures, and it was a wonderful day. And our team, the Runnemede team, with first responders was just fabulous. And they're such good sports. Not all the teams were very good sports, but yeah, we had some. But it was fine. It was fine. But our team was just superb.
Yeah.
And continuing on with New Beginnings, they are going to have a Labor Day barbecue, and everybody is invited. It's a $10 donation, and it's at 2 o'clock on September the 2nd. And anytime between 12 and 5, you can show up. They'll be cooking and having a great time, and that's at their clubhouse on Rose Avenue. They are also sponsoring Sober Stock 4, which is a huge event going to be at the River Winds Amphitheater on September 8th. And some of the events are listed on this if you are interested. Some of the, they're going to have listified, classified, Colici, I don't know who that is, and all mixed up. So it's going to be an all-day event from 2 to 8, and that's New Beginnings. New Beginnings is a wellness and recovery organization located here in Runnemede. We're very lucky to have them. And I met with the fire department this month, and we talked about the firehouse renovation. They are going to be entering into a loan with Community Bank, and it'll be about 2 years before we'll have it done. It's in the process right now as we speak. So, of course, the police department would like to have it done sooner because they want to move into those rooms, but it's still going to take 2 years. That's it, Mayor. If you have anything else, any questions?
No, I heard you were down at the baseball game the whole time.
Oh, I loved it. It was wonderful.
Did you send me pictures? Did you take pictures?
I did not take pictures. Billy Sampolsky, all the guys took pictures, yeah.
Send some to me so I can put them on our
Bring the
Facebook
microphone.
page.
But you know, what I want to do is just mention that last night I was at the GIF.
Okay.
This is
And-
important, guys.
Yeah, this is important. I was at the GIF last night, and we were told, that because the state of New Jersey did not have the threshold, did not meet the threshold, our people will not get any help from
You're talking about
FEMA.
FEMA.
Yeah, we won't get any help. But for the next 2 days, they can go to Barrington, the Barrington Borough Hall, and they can sign up for small business loans. The loan is 1.975, and it ends 5 o'clock on the 29th. So I don't know if anybody wants to take out a loan. It's 1.975. They have to go to the Barrington Borough Hall, and they have to be there before 5 o'clock on the 29th. It's kind of important.
Thursday.
kind of important.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lumsden?
Yes, the softball event was very nice. I played along with the police and fire department. Well organized. The New Beginnings had a great cookout inside Harry Williams, and had nice baskets. It was a nice event. As Eleanor said, some of the teams weren't too happy that the Runnemede team won again, but especially
It's
with
gonna be like that
It's home
every year.
field.
Yeah.
Every year.
Captain Zinfolsky was the driving force, let me just say that. He loves his softball. And the next day, he was down in Virginia playing, in Sterling, Virginia, with his team. So he goes all over the place. I don't have a lot else going on, with Public Works. Mr. Root will talk about that. There's nothing going on as far as the sports right now. The only thing we need to discuss is how much we push the RY to do soccer at Green Acres. Harry put out an email the other day that they're beating up the outfield of the baseball field. So, do we really want to push the
Have we spoke
RY?
to them?
Not yet.
Okay, let's speak.
Yeah, and, but it's good, they're kind of resistant toward it, and lighting is the thing, but lights don't change till the beginning of November. So, daylight savings. So we'll have,
How often are the soccer practices games? How often?
no, they practice every night.
So practice every
But
night?
it's
if you
the
know-
field pretty bad.
Yeah, but it beats the outfield up pretty bad.
What about portable lights at Green Acres?
Yeah, we can
You ever
do
looked
that.
at that? At one point, we had donation.
Yeah, we can certainly look at that and talk with
We're
United
saying
Rental.
that you can go to like United Rental and they'll let you use it while they don't need it.
But then you get, if they take it, you lose.
That, and it wasn't so roses and petals, when you walk in there.
So it's better
It's not like
to,
he's like, yeah, take
So it's better to
all
rent
that stuff. Yeah, so.
do we want to look at what the cost would be to rent?
We can, certainly.
Just so we know. I'm
Yeah.
not saying they do it. It might cost $1 million. But if it costs $50,
I know over at TVAA on their complexes that United Rental does that. And then when they need the lights, they take the lights.
No, I'm saying we
Yeah,
rent them.
yes,
Then they can't take it away,
yeah, okay.
So you want to make sure that you have someone who has some idea what they're doing, helping with the placement of the lights, because otherwise you have a liability issue.
And then the running of the lights.
Well, in the operation, somebody's got to be turning them on and turning them off.
Yeah, they're diesel, yeah.
All right, and you need to make sure that you reach out to your church.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, let's talk to the RY. Let's see what these things cost.
all right, very good.
Because one of the solutions to that is let the RY rent the lights and put the lights down. That would be the solution.
That'd be
How
nice.
long's the season?
It's 3 months.
Yeah, they run now until middle of November.
My point is, the longer you're around, the better price.
You do a 3-month round.
Right, you get a price for the
And then it would take a
duration.
lot of pressure off that field.
Yeah,
Because you're saying we're spending money to maintain this field. It gets beat up every year.
And you can't do that dedicated field.
Well, the problem is they practice in one spot, like in front of the net. That always gets, the one net just always gets beat up, because that's where they,
That's the same with the big field down
Yeah.
at the Green
Same
Acres.
thing.
We put all that money into it, but you have the old softball field, that's where they should be doing your drills and stuff like that, beat that up, and the fields itself for play.
I think we should have a meeting. And I want to be there.
okay.
I want to go to this meeting. Let's have this meeting in the next week.
These are
We'll
your
try.
fields, they're Runnemede fields.
Well,
All of them are fields.
yes.
They're all our fields. I understand. I want to be in the room
okay,
when we sit down and talk.
very good. Progress.
Anything else? Okay, Mr. Rubin.
I'm gonna let Harry go. He wants to so bad.
Well, then let Mr. Farrow go, so we don't take any thunder from Mr. Farrow.
Oh, great.
Because I think he crossed off half of his list.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Mayor. We had a great meeting yesterday. Don't look at my notes. We discussed the pumping station down at Forest Avenue and what they want to do down there. They want to give, well, somebody decided to put a fence up,
Resident.
a resident, and we want to give that land to Triton and
We're allowed to use it.
allow them to use it, yes. So
Where's this at?
Forest Avenue.
Forest Avenue.
The pump station.
Oh,
No. You understand? No. So you're asking a question. It's at Forest Avenue, we have a pump station. Over the years, people have encroached on the pump station. A survey was done for what reason? For the fence to secure the pump station. When the survey was done, it was very obvious that our property was much larger than we thought because people kind of encroached on it. So Mr. Root's been down there a lot. Baseball was very successful this year. The school had some problems because it's all weeds and overgrown. And the school has offered, Harry correct, to do some of the cleaning up if we allow them to use it. It wouldn't be a transfer of ownership, I don't believe, but we allow them to clean it up because then the away team could access the third base line. And then he still gets a fence.
Yeah, they need an area for the pitchers to warm up. There's no area for the visiting team. So that our property, if we split it in half, would actually give them an area to work, for them to do their workouts and so forth like that prior to the game.
So a group of us are going to go down and talk to those property owners because we want to give them a little understanding that we're not just, yeah.
Looks at the end of Forest Avenue?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, try to.
But there's,
That's the fence.
Your Forest Avenue.
but the
Yes,
fence,
yes.
No, I don't see where anybody's encroaching, they've been.
you can't tell because you don't know where the markers are.
Oh.
If you saw where the markers are, you'd be like,
Then
ooh.
heading towards Triton?
But this is not a big deal. We only want to put a fence around the building. We don't want to put a fence around the whole parking lot. We just want to put a fence around the building.
But you need access.
Harry has that planned out so that the truck could pull in and they could work on it. But like right now, the generator is completely wide open.
Right.
I mean, you could cut it hypothetically and take the generator. You could vandalize the pump station.
Very few people know that that's down there, it's very quiet. So what do you, how much ground are you gonna give them?
No, it's just really just cleaning it up a little bit. Yeah, just cleaning it up so they can access that third baseline. It's minimal. It's, like I said, it really came out because the baseball team did so well.
There's a fence there, a big
Well, the fence might have to be moved, right?
Yeah.
Or just let them get around it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also, we'll get back on it. Third Avenue and Detmer Terrace, same thing down there. They want to put a fence around the station, clean up the area there. And
Harry wants to.
Harry wants
So
to-
the borough wants to. I don't mean, you say they, who's they?
Oh, I'm sorry, oh, okay. I'm
It's
sorry.
us.
Yes, we. And also changing sidewalks on East Sham Road down the hill, by PSC&G, yes. We're going to do that, and we are going to relocate the inlets, and the county will put up the guardrails, and PSC&G will install curbs and sidewalks. So that would be great for people walking down the street, Now, like, they gotta go out in the street and get past it,
We've been talking about this for a while. How
Long
come
time.
it's taken so long?
Because the county's getting money from the federal government to move the guardrails. So they get the money from the guardrails, PSC&G, they wanted to do it immediately, but because they're almost done their project. That's what started this whole
I
thing.
know.
They wanted to do their project, the county was putting guardrails in, and we wanted to put the sidewalk in.
So
It's all coming together.
you figure what, 3 months?
It probably isn't like that. The only thing we have to pay for is moving an inlet.
Right. So what's the time frame?
What do you think,
I don't
Bill?
know, 3 months.
Okay, that makes me happy, okay?
I'm ready to shovel
Think
down
you
the
just
hill.
tell me, no, I think you just tell me this stuff just to.
2 weeks.
You have to get her to be a project manager. She gets
About a
jumped
week
up.
and a half. Give her a hard hat.
John talked about the sanitary and storm sewers, and Mark talked about Roman and Shepherd Avenue. Last but not least, Shropshire gave us another report.
I didn't see that.
Not good.
Oh, again? Jeez.
They're saying changes to the traffic pattern would not help us.
Okay, so did
What can we
they have any
do? What can
suggestions?
we do?
Well,
There's gotta be a solution.
Yeah, they said, I think Mark was saying that maybe they can change the time a little on Clemens Ridge Road and East Shore Road to give us a little more time to get out. But I was saying to Mark, I just can't believe that they can't see the problem we're having with left-hand turns. But they were saying if we did that, it would just back it up all the way up towards Mount Ephraim,
Yeah, I understand what they're saying.
The only good thing we had going on, do you remember, I reported at one meeting that from Evesham Road all the way to Washington Township, you remember that, Mark? They're doing work on all those lights. That actually might help us a little bit, because you do know some of the problem starts at Station Avenue in Glendora. that causes a backup to East and things like that. So hopefully that might start. Remember, it's a state highway, so it's very difficult for us to really push them.
But Mark's going to go back to Shropshire and just relay what we're saying, if there's any way they can.
The last we've heard is 3 seconds. They were going to allow it for 3 seconds more.
That was a suggestion. They didn't like it.
Why won't they go red one side and green the other? It's all the same.
They look at that and it backs up traffic.
They did the math.
They're taking away time.
We're just putting our problem somewhere else.
Yeah,
Another town.
yeah.
We're giving them.
That's making more of them.
No, it's just putting it on the other road.
Harry, did you mention yesterday that alternating time that would work?
When we had the meeting with them, I asked them about it.
They look at that.
Yeah, they weren't too.
Apparently, they're a lot smarter than we are. What are you gonna do?
Just think where Runnemede is, we're in a,
We pitched.
yeah, progress.
Okay.
Sorry, people, we tried.
Mr. Wozak, do you want to go since you were talked about a lot? That's two.
Update on the sweeper, the metal was all fabricated, bent, and should say dry fitted. Half of it is welded in as of this morning. So with that, they're still working on it. It's in the line of the welding, so it's on that side of the shop. They got to get it out because that's holding them up for any other project. So
Good.
they have to do something with it now. So all the stuff is there, the parts are there. I saw it all, and they were definitely welding the barbecue and everything else. So with that, Mary, do you want me to just touch base on the capital project, the
Sure.
purchases, the hot box?
Let people know.
We talked about for patching. Talked about that for this year's capital budget. That purchase order was submitted. And the fee for that one was the source well, so it's under a contract program that we are. We didn't have to go out to bid or anything.
27,000?
Yeah, it was $27,917.
And how much is, and what's that for?
The pothole machine.
Better pothole repair.
Oh, good.
And I think we
It's
budgeted,
not going to be cold patch anymore? It's
No.
going to be hot patch?
we had 40,000, right? So we're coming in less than what we thought.
That's good.
I think we had it for 30,000.
We had it for 30,000.
Well, that's great.
Oh, can I run that? Oh.
Are you getting a green one though? Runnemede is green, right?
That's
They don't
going to
make
be
a
what
great
we're
one unless
buying.
you want to pay extra for the green.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, yeah,
With
yeah,
the green
yeah,
lettering.
right.
Just fine.
Right.
That's really great. That's great. Hot patch now.
Nick,
That's
is there any
wonderful.
shared service with this? Are anybody gonna be looking for this? You can borrow this right now?
Magnolia, maybe.
The truck, the dump truck, we did a pre-order with that, the purchase order was done for that, wait to get confirmation when the dump truck will be arriving, that's replacing our 89 F800, which the back is falling apart, having problems with the emission and everything with that part, so that's that truck. It will be a white cab.
Now, what's the year for that? What's the, how old was that?
This will be brand new, coming in,
Brand new?
Getting a brand new one.
first time coming in. Since 1985.
This is a shock.
1985.
You buy those old ones.
Put down an ad this coming week with, for help wanted for,
Bus driver?
potential bus driver. So we need to advertise for a bus driver for our, yeah, for our senior bus. If not, we are going to be in some trouble with it. Also, we're looking at the purchase order request for the stations.
Well, I just emailed you back on that, so I guess the question I always have is it current year bond that we just did? So current year bond, as long as you identify the bond, and then we just know what keeps going down.
Right.
So if you said there was 30,000 for the hot box, and you're spending 27.9, that leaves 2,100, that's all I.
Then the dump truck, all that, we'll do an average of it
Just keep
and have
going.
that report.
Harry, when I was at the GIF last night, they approached me about the claim that we put in for the
Pump station.
storm damage, yeah.
Oh, the storm or the pump?
No, the storm damage.
Oh, the storm, okay.
Yes.
We were the only town that put anything in. I mean, I'm
Good.
sure other towns will.
Good.
But I was surprised that we were the only town that had.
We were on
our
it.
plan.
We were on
But
it.
we were the one, we did get damaged, right? We lost our paint striper, we lost lawnmowers.
And our new striker that we had.
We lost
started
all of
using
our
it
decoration,
at,
our seasonals.
Singham School. that
banners.
broke. So it's going back since it's only 2 days old.
So I was glad to see
Comfort.
that we were the only town. Now, I know there's gonna be a lot more towns, But we were the first one.
First is always good.
Yeah, first one.
So with that, we are working on the ball fields. We have infield mix coming in for the fields to retop them for the fall season, to also
I
dry
want you
them.
to pull dirt up first before you do that, correct? Don't you?
We'll
Doesn't
drag
it
them.
settle, don't you, can you grab from 12 inches down and pull the clay back
I don't want
up?
to pull that far down and so forth.
How far down do you usually pull down?
3 or 4.
That's it?
That's it.
3 or 4? So you pull it up
But a
before you
lot of
compress it?
a lot of
It
it
stops.
Okay, I didn't know how far down there.
What our problem is right now is we're replacing the soil that washed away from the soil.
But we're not causing, I think on other fields, I mean, where you keep putting more and more dirt up, and all of a sudden you have a hump between first, first
We
base
cut
and
them
the
back and drag them and so forth.
Okay, so we're not, you keep adding more dirt, does it just keep getting
washed
washed?
out? It's all, they go into the
Okay.
field, wash down the streets and so forth.
I play much baseball.
Our work.
I watch.
Harry, if I may, one thing at softball, are we looking at lowering the softball field, the big field, or what are we doing about the wall, the dirt's right at the top, along the third baseline?
Unfortunately, right now, we are trying to take care of other projects. and
Yeah, no, I mean, is
look
that
at
something in the future?
Yes,
Okay.
What wall are you talking about?
third baseline.
The third baseline on the softball field, the wall used to be 6 inches higher than the dirt, now it's even.
Oh, yeah.
Right now,
That's what just got added to the dirt.
That's what I'm talking about, keep adding dirt.
But right now, that's where the water goes instead of
Yeah.
going into the building.
Yeah.
So it's going over.
Oh, so it's better,
actually
right?
helping right now.
Oh,
It's a waterfall now.
it's a
The
waterfall.
roof's been replaced at the ball field, at the softball fields, both of them have been replaced, so that's all done. The backfield's all been done, dugouts on that. Leafers are being serviced, getting ready for the leafing season coming in. Grass cutting, we're still doing that, we're still doing baking and so forth. So other than that, progress.
Okay, good.
You were chipping at the Green Acres today, right? All those fallen trees, cutting them up and getting rid of those?
All dead trees, all that stuff.
I was
We
glad to
got-
see that, that's great.
We have a 2-page list, we're just trying to keep knocking away at it.
That's great, thank you.
I want to ask Councilman you said something about the dugouts when you were in there playing your game. What's the problem with the dugouts?
There are no structural with them on the big field, the big baseball field. Just the inside of the dugouts need paint and some TLC down the road.
It's still in good shape, it's
Yeah, it's
just,
still in good shape.
it's a little worn.
Yeah, it's a little worn. I had never been inside those dugouts before, when I was there Saturday in the softball program.
With the Triton Island, that program, we can probably get some.
Yeah, one last question on the fields. I heard something, the mound at that field, was that good when you guys were playing? Is it the right height, is it the right slope, is everything okay with that?
That's a baseball field.
Okay.
What, big field?
Yeah,
No, it's low.
it is low. That's what
It's doable, it's usable, but it's low.
Is it something we can just add dirt, and raise it up? Or is it a
No,
process?
you gotta build the whole mound up. Actually, the plate's gotta come up a little bit, because that's.
Any way we get the school to do it, because they're using the field? Could we get them to fix that, get the mound fixed? Harry, do you think you get Frank to do it?
It's better coming from up above.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's probably about 4 inches too low.
So it is too low?
Yeah, maybe even more, maybe even more.
All right, I will say something.
Okay.
Anything else?
It's gotta be
Okay,
all-
where are we at, Mr. Diori?
It's gotta be all
Oh,
clay.
Mr. Root already went?
Yeah, we're good.
These guys went? We're gonna let the best for last, Mr. Diori,
I
anything?
think we talked about finance a lot. The note sales tomorrow morning, so I'm excited about that. But other than that, we talked about everything as far as capital goes and allocations and different, where things are going to be.
And those ordinance you want done, we're gonna get them done. It's the outside, we'll get the salary, we'll get all that stuff.
Yeah, I'll start working on that tomorrow and hopefully send an email out for the ordinance. The fees, you can put them into the ordinance
I think they were already put in, it was a draft done, it was given back to the police department for them to review it.
for EMS. And
Well, Harry, I didn't put that in, that was,
Okay, so that just needs to be added.
Fred wanted to add the EMS fee,
Somehow.
because it's outside employment, we're collecting it.
Yeah,
So we have to have a fee, says, right? Okay,
so, yeah,
good.
that's it.
All right, thank you. Now let's turn it over to our engineer. Oh, I knew he was gonna say project. There is a meeting with the GWU tomorrow.
All right.
Yeah, for the public works contract. I did pay that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I submitted my report in writing, emailed it out to everybody, and also provided hard copies tonight. There's a lot of updates, but thanks to the mayor and John and Bob, some of them get crossed off, and I don't have to worry about them. First one was the pump station A and F. We talked about that with the survey and the fence work. We are doing some more deed research, though, on the one at 3rd Avenue because it's a drainage easement. We're trying to find the exact language regarding that property. Sherrington Woods, we're working with the solicitor regarding the easement descriptions for a possible land transfer for the homeowners behind the Acme. The fiscal year 2020 state aid application was all submitted. The resolution was submitted, so thanks to Joyce for getting us 3 copies of that. No announcements have been made regarding that, but hopefully we'll get funded for the rest of South Rowland Avenue and North and South Highland Avenue.
And that should come out around October, November?
Yes, correct. That's our understanding.
October, November.
Moving on to page 2, we're working with DPW and code enforcement. There's a drainage issue going on at the Wawa on one of their inlets at Elm Avenue and Constitution. We're looking into that. You didn't talk about this, Mayor. We submitted a proposal to do survey and base plans for a possible streetscape at the corner of Clements Bridge Road and Schubert Avenue. It's enclosure A in your packet that shows $4,340 for us to survey it, do deed research, and prepare an existing conditions-based
All right,
plan.
let me explain it to everybody. So everyone remembers the Lux, that we managed to finally get that done and close out their planning board approval, their site plan approval. So this now would start the process on the other end. Heritage met with myself and Mr. Bach. They're very receptive. We met with actually Cedar Heritage, the grandson of the place. He came out the day. We walked the property. They're very receptive in understanding that there is no sidewalk, there is no, everything's impervious, there's all asphalt, there's no grass, the flow of the traffic and all that. So they were very receptive. And I think one of the reasons they were very receptive is because the borough, if we do this, would take the initiative. And what it would mean is, and I'm going to ask the CFO this question, I believe this would be an example of our general engineering fee, the operating budget. We have a general engineering fund that we pay the engineer for certain things. So this wouldn't necessarily be a bondable, nothing with bonding at this point.
Well, we
might change it.
We do have money left over on curbs and sidewalks.
Oh, so there might be some
I
money.
was planning on putting there, or some, if we have section 20 costs related to that ordinance, I was going to put.
Okay, so that would be an example where we could put it in the bond and it's not taken out of the operating expense. So what this would
It
do
does
is,
have to do with curbs and sidewalks.
it does, it's exactly, it's curbing and sidewalks. What the borough would do all the drawings, we would submit to the county. I saw the county lady the day we were at the Belmar ballroom. She was there, her name is Kevin Pesico. She already knows that we're looking into this. She would approve it, she would waive any fees, and then we would probably only pay for the curbing aspect of it, the drawings of the curbing, the property owner.
County engineer.
County engineer. I should say that. She is the county engineer. She is in charge of all the roads in the county. In charge of a $9 million county budget. So the idea here is with this money, they would do the drawings, submit it to Heritage. Heritage would do it. It would still go in front of the planning board. So the planning board would still take a quick look at it, even though there'd be no fees or anything like that, because the planning board is the mechanism to approve this. Is really a site plan change. And what we would end up at the end, hopefully, is a nice grassy area at the corner of Schubert and Clements Ridge Road. Harry pointed out protection of the light fixtures and the traffic light control has been hit several times. The borough would pay for a couple concrete bollards. It would identify the driveways and just change the whole flow. And there's a crossing guard there, correct? So the crossing guard would actually have a sidewalk as opposed to be standing in the parking lot. And then we make our way up. We're probably, it also includes part of Deluxe. We're looking at Deluxe's property there too, because more than likely we're going to have to connect to Deluxe, and that'll be a separate issue we'll look into. But if council wants to at least approve this, even with just a voice vote at this point, I think that's acceptable, right?
I think it's acceptable to start moving on that. I
I'd like to see that corner much
Okay,
improved.
and then you'll figure out how to pay for it? Thank you. Let me know how you want to pay for it, because I do know he's got an operating expense. That's the right way, or you want to do surplus.
Yeah, it will, it'll look nice.
Capital, I'm fine with that. That's a great idea. So, a motion by Mrs. Kelly.
I want to make that motion.
Anybody second
I'll
it?
second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so there we go. Very nice people.
Do you need a roll call since it involves money?
Yeah, we should.
I don't want to.
Thank you for your legal advice. Roll call. Yeah.
What was
It's a bonus.
What were you voting on?
Authorizing Box Associates to, per enclosure A of my report.
Yeah, whatever the ordinance number is.
I'll show you.
I'm sorry.
Improvements to the
Shall
court.
Existing conditions survey and base plans
It's a resolution.
for a possible streetscape on Clemens Bridge Road and.
So this is a resolution?
It's a resolution.
Resolution.
Clemens Bridge and Schubert.
Yes.
Mitchell.
Okay, so we have a motion by Kelly.
Second by Mr. Pascal.
Pascal.
Need a roll
Now
call.
you want a roll call. Oh, my goodness, wait a
I
minute.
can't
Mrs.
let you read the
Kelly.
whole time.
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein.
Yes.
Mrs. Pascal.
Yes.
Mr. Root.
Yes.
Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
And Mr. Aaron.
Yes.
So Ms. Kelly's going to ask, when are you going to have those drawings done?
Are they done yet?
Couple months?
Yeah, there you
Couple
go.
months.
Okay. Moving on, Bob talked about the PSE&G and the county coming through with the guide rail improvements. There is a pre-construction meeting on September 4th. We're going to attend along, I think, with Harry's going to be there. It's a county-run project. We have no control over when they're going to do the guide rail. It is a county-wide project, I believe, on Evesham Road, starting in Runnemede, but going through Magnolia,
It starts-
Cherry Hill. It includes.
Oh, you don't know which direction they're
Yeah, I
going.
don't-
Wait a minute,
They're
you're saying
going-
that the guardrail and the sidewalk depends on this other job?
Correct. It's a county job. It's a county project for guide rail
So
improvement.
Eleanor, it might be.
So-
Might be next year.
We will keep you apprised of the situation, but it does involve guide rail on Evesham through Runnemede, Cherry Hill.
Yes.
It's a countywide guide rail improvement on
It's
Evesham
a couple
Road.
$1 million.
Yes. So just want to let everybody aware of that,
So it's going to be a little longer than 3
It's
months.
not
I
going to be
have-
much of thing, 'cause
we-
they're ready to go.
Yeah, they're ready to go, but I have no control over it. We will be overseeing.
I will be kind and not say anymore.
Chestnut Street and Garden Terrace, we were supposed to be doing some layout to figure out where the borough owns property. It's my understanding field survey was to be done today. I did not confirm if that was completed or not. I will find out before next week. The open space application, the $25,000 grant, the mayor already talked about, the LED lighting down at the park. And we did find out about the Camden County CDBG project we have put in for our road program for North and South Rowan Avenue. Unfortunately, that did not get funded. They made announcements earlier this month, and that was not a successful application. It was a good application, but we had gotten $500,000 over the past 2 years. Even though they say they're competitive applications, they're still trying to spread the money around. So I want to talk about this a little bit later.
Can we make a recommendation, though, that should we take the DOT and get rid of that CDBG aspect of it? Is that what you're going to bring?
That was, and actually, that's the next page.
Okay.
So, the next page, on page 3 of the report, is the DOT 2019 program. We talked about the bids we received, and hopefully next Tuesday you award the base bid, add alternate 1 and add alternate 2, if Jim finds the money. But one item in there was the CDBG project sign for $1,000. Since we didn't get funded by CDBG, we bid it as if we were going to get funded. We didn't get funded by CDBG, so we don't need the project sign. I still have a call in to Tracy Wilson at CCIA to see if we could get reimbursed after the fact, but if
What's the money involved?
There's no reason to put a sign up because we're not funded by
Right.
CDBG.
Right.
So save $1,000. You don't have to do all that reporting.
we don't have to, right, we do not.
So you save all that time and possibly money not doing the reporting.
Right.
What the point is we want to tell the vendor that he doesn't have to follow CDBG
Right,
rules.
so
I think
when
that's the way to go.
so when we have the pre-construction
But they
meeting,
didn't say money.
we'll just do a change order to pull the sign out of the project. It was $1,000 line item, so that'll save you $1,000, so you're only looking at $459, $642.
But does it save a little bit on the reporting and all that other stuff? Because they, we don't have to do that stuff that you have to do, or if you talk to the contractors, do you still have to do all that?
We don't have to do that, no.
So you save us money on the engineering.
$400.
Still, what's that $400?
It's okay.
I just wrote it down. We're gonna back discount $400.
It's gonna cost us somewhere.
Well, you used to have to go out there and talk
Oh,
to
you
the.
have to do wage rate interview. Our inspector's on site already, so that's why it's just an additional item that he's doing while he's there.
He doesn't tell them
So
what to do.
scratch that. It's not saving you money.
Oh,
But no, it's, our inspector's on site. Part of it is you have to do a wage rate interview and just ask 2 employees what they're making per hour. And we don't have to do that. Yeah.
That's $1 million buck. Anybody to save, we're gonna save your money.
I try all the time. Sanitary and storm as-bills, Jim talked about it, and Bob mentioned a little bit. We do have some more field work to do. There's some manholes that we could not open, so the Public Works is going to assist us with that. I think my field guys didn't want to hit it too heavy with the sledge in case they broke it. We didn't want to own any of the manhole lids. So Harry's going to help us with that.
and you're gonna begin the east side now.
If we were authorized to do that, have we been
Yes.
authorized to do that?
I say
When did that
authorize
happen?
you Tonight.
Tonight.
Well, the reason I'm pushing all this stuff is we did the bond, the money's there, we're past the estoppel period. Why should he know to do the work? We're not gonna give him any money until he does the work. Is it a resolution, is it all in favor, what is it to tell him to do it? What do you want?
What is he
We-
doing? What
we-
is he doing?
He's gonna spend $70,000 to go around the OE side of town
It's a
and mark.
resolution and it's a voice.
Okay. You okay with that, Jim? This is the second half of the bond from the sewer bond to authorize him to start the work. He's not gonna bill us until he does the work, but this is the second half of the mapping.
We do have it in the.
So you can certify the funds.
I can.
Yeah, okay.
There's a resolution, is there going to be a resolution? on it?
Yep, we're gonna do a resolution tonight.
Okay.
You wanna make a resolution? Make a motion?
I'll make a motion to start the east side, whatever it is, mapping. Way to go.
I'll second.
Oh,
I'll second that.
okay, John will
Sorry,
second.
Bob. All right, all those in favor?
No, it's roll call.
Yeah.
Roll call.
All right.
Say,
And we're not gonna pay any money until you finish the first.
Me?
Correct.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Mrs. Passios.
yes.
Mr. Lowenstein.
Yes.
It's getting
Mr.
late.
Booth. Mr. Farrell.
Yes.
Close to the hearing. 6 ayes.
Okay, thank you.
So
And
please.
someone will
Yes.
read the description of
Yes.
exactly what it is that you just approved.
Jim's got it, it was originally, it was proposed to us last year.
Yes.
It was the mapping of all the sewers and stormwater, inlets, pipes, the diameter of the pipe, the depth of the pipe, all that stuff.
Somebody asked
We've been waiting for it for a long
Yeah,
time.
because like all these problems we're having with stormwater, without a map, we don't know where.
What's going on?
Okay.
And what buildings they're under?
Yes.
Elimination of septic tanks on Davis Road.
It's good to have.
We're trying to find out all the houses in that area that are currently on septic, so we can tie it into a proposed gravity line and then have a pump station and pump it back up the hill. So we're still looking into all that to come up with a cost estimate so we can finalize that. Our original was 2.5 million, but we're trying to refine that estimate and make sure we get all the houses in that area that are currently on septic.
And just to be clear on what that is, that would be repaving of Davis Road. It would be getting all those properties off. So funding-wise, we have funding already to start the drawings and start the application. We did that in the bond. To pay for it in the future, we've started to increase our sewers to help pay for this. All the residents would pay an application or a connection fee. They would pay
Is
it yearly.
Barrington on board with this?
Barrington's on board with this, so we
I'll
missed
tell
this.
you why, because I get my gas at John.
Does he say it to you?
Yes, of course he said to me, when you gonna start?
Yeah.
So I tell, oh, the plans are in front.
So we're gonna need their support, you know, to
So
get
when are we
Barrington.
gonna get started? Because John is gonna ask me the next time I get gas.
Mr. Bob said we should have if we get all our drawings done in October, we could have the bid in February, so the council could review it and see.
Oh,
So February, because the idea is you only want to do a project like this over the summer when
Oh,
the kids
yeah,
are not in
oh,
school.
yeah. All right, so I can tell John in the spring.
Summer. And if school goes out, as soon as school goes out, you tear up Davis Road. You can't tear up Davis Road.
All right, so next summer, I can
But
tell.
Barrington would be on board. All those houses on the Barrington side.
Yeah,
would
he
pay-
knew all about it,
They would pay the connection fee, they would pay their yearly.
because John lives right there.
Yeah. And to the rest of the board, just to understand, one of the logics for spending this money for the borough, we did the math a little bit, Mr. Ranieri and I, when we had our meeting, we talked about the fact that if there's 100 houses back there, you know, hypothetically, it should increase the value of those homes, because no longer one sewer, septic scares people. Many of the houses in our town have not been able to sell because they can't get cleared for their septic system. So we have homes that are not moving because they're cesspools and things like that. And then, of course, the environmental side of it, that we don't want to pollute the environment and things like that. So the state's pushing it, and I think we should do this if it's feasible.
Okay. Moving on, page 5, the Black Horse Pike traffic study. Bob talked about it, where Shropshire was looking at the Black Horse Pike and Evesham Road and Black Horse Pike and Clements Bridge Road to try and increase or decrease the wait time at the lights. As Bob mentioned, their report, even though they looked at alternating left green arrows like they do on the White Horse Pike, it just can't help in this situation, and it actually makes it worse. Their recommendation is to try and change the timing of the Clements Bridge Road and the Black Horse Pike. Take a little bit of time away from the Black Horse Pike green time and give it to Clements Bridge Road. So the engineering committee is having us coordinate with Shropshire to finalize a report, submit it to DOT, and petition them to have the light timing adjusted. So we will
That's the
move
best
forward
they
with
can do.
that. That's the best they can do. It was already included in their proposal to us, so we just see that through, so we can do everything possible to try and make the Clements Bridge Road intersection quicker.
Okay.
The fiscal year 2018 DOT project, we're trying to close that out. DOT is making us core the road to test the asphalt. We gave Craig Testing the go-ahead to do that, and I'm just waiting for them to coordinate the field work to core the road and test the asphalt.
Did you put that in this 2019, that is DOT going to require that every time? Should we
It's-
add it to the bids?
If there's over 5,000 square yards of asphalt, we will need to do that. So depending on what you award, I think we're over 5,000.
Okay,
So
so
we're
we're
going
going
to
to
do
pay
that.
that $2,000.
Yes, correct.
We need that signed.
Yeah.
You know what they're making us do now? After we pave the road, after we drill a hole?
And test the asphalt. The redevelopment plan, did you talk about this, John? Or am I stealing your thunder? I'm on page 6 now, I'm jumping.
The
The
redevelopment.
redevelopment plan implementation standard, the committee was set up. It is the mayor, Councilwoman Passio, Councilman Ranieri, Planning Board Chairwoman Kleehammer, Ken Leak, and Steve Bach are the committee that are looking into what standards they could put for the redevelopment plan. They had a meeting on July 30th, and I think there was one earlier today.
And the next one will be an hour before Caucus.
Next September, okay. I don't have anything to report on that because I wasn't there, but I understand they're making good
Good
progress.
progress, and I would argue, I would invite any member of council can come to these meetings if they're very, like, in.
Not more than,
Yeah, then they're, okay. That's why we only, because the reason I'm saying is, like, well, Ms. Passio wasn't there, we could have sent something.
I would have been there.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, we're at the very preliminary stages, it's nothing for council to approve or anything like that at this point.
okay. And moving on to page 8 of the report, South Jersey Gas, the subcontractor Lantier is doing the main work and services. There was an issue with a sprinkler that we're trying to get resolved. It was my understanding the homeowner said the sprinkler wasn't active and there were no rush to do the work, but then they came into the Borough Hall and complained to Joyce that it wasn't fixed. So we're trying to get that fixed. That's the end of the report that I have to talk about. I just would like to thank everybody for those beautiful fruit basket. I know I sent a letter, but I just want to publicly say thank you. Our entire family enjoyed the fruit basket. It was very nice. And thank you all for thinking of us. It was very much appreciated.
Lantier or Lan or whatever, what time are they supposed to start in the morning?
I believe it's 7 to 3:30. Is that how?
They're getting jump on it quite a bit, half hour.
Complain to the police department. Call the police department.
Well, we-
Sure, they're the ones setting up the, blocking the streets and all.
They come up in July every morning and they get the trucks at 6:30.
You get up early, you're up already.
Well, this morning I had 7:20, so I.
Was there anything else? Oh, the Board of Health, Mr. Wood didn't report on it, but he basically felt that he's talking about the Board of Health ordinance. Will
The Board of Health
repeal it?
ordinance, I'm going to fast, I'm going to do a new ordinance, which will repeal the old ordinance, and we'll just create
This language that the county made has had this advisory insert.
I may not get it done by Tuesday, but.
Yeah, it's just to get it out. Okay, so we're done. This part of this portion of the meeting is open to the public. Please come to the microphone station. What's that? Nah, let's do the public thing.
I guess something else.
Yeah, please come up. Just name and address.
Tammy Petrarca, 26 Avenue. So I'm here because, actually Eleanor and, Paul sent.
The chief of police?
Yes, responded to my email in reference to the ongoing issue with the VFW. I live directly across from the VFW, and I've been there for about 6-7 years. This has been an ongoing issue ever since I moved in. I've complained numerous times, and now the situation has just escalated.
Excuse me, but haven't we given you a couple solutions? We thought a handicap, but we can't do the handicap. I thought we were gonna paint the corners of each of your,
Paul told me that he had a couple of suggestions and then to show up to the meeting. And
you didn't have to come here. I think it's already been agreed to paint,
Yeah, Harry's had some great.
we're gonna paint 2 yellow, what are we painting?
Put triangles
I
that
told
drop
you, Harry,
in. As I recorded on a machine that we just purchased, broke down.
Yeah, we have our own striping machine, and what we intended to do is at the end of your driveway was to paint 2 yellow triangles. They didn't tell you this?
No.
Okay, I'll tell you. 2 yellow triangles, Mr. Wozok is gonna take care of it. And it's not gonna be by ordinance, but at least hopefully people will see the yellow triangles and not park in the yellow triangles. And what do I mean by it's not an ordinance? The police can't get a ticket if somebody parks in it, but hopefully people,
There might be a state or something.
there might be a state ordinance? Okay.
State statute.
So the police might be able to still ticket somebody if they do park
Is
in
that the
that.
only thing that's being done? Because it's not just, what's happening is the street is so small that people are butting up to my driveway and they're
Yes.
parking in front of the driveway. So I can't even pull frontwards into my driveway. I have to back into my driveway because every couple of days they're having these events going on and people are sandwiching on both sides of the street. So they're directly in front of my driveway where I can't even get out of my driveway because the street is so
I
narrow.
mean, the only thing we were gonna try to do at this point was these triangles for you to give you, was it 3 by 3? What was the,
We're going to go lay them out, and probably be on these 5 foot by 5 foot.
so you might get 5 feet on either side of your apron. You know what I mean by the apron right there? So it might give you enough to be able to turn in and out.
Yeah, the other issue that I had, which I spoke to Paul about, is that I have a medical condition, which I can't move around, and from time to time, I don't know when it's gonna flare up or when it's not. And if they're having a function and an ambulance needs to come to my house, which an ambulance has been to my house a couple of times, the ambulance can't even get down the street when the cars are sandwiched.
When the cars are on both sides of the street, the ambulance can't get down the
Yes,
street?
it's very hard for the ambulance, like the ambulance is like butted up.
Ms. Kelly, could you at least ask Fred about that, if that's an issue?
And I even spoke to Paul about that, and I said, so what happens if I have a fire or something
Sure.
like that?
Fire
And
truck,
he
yeah.
said to me, nobody can get down the street when the cars are on either side. He
So
said-
basically, the ambulance can't.
You have to, what's your name and address? Just get your name and
Only Leroy
Yeah,
Page.
no.
Basically, the ambulance can't.
name and address. Leroy Page and your address.
Leroy Page.
This isn't going to work. Mr. Page, Mr. Page, Mr. Page, would you just wait and say your thing until she's done?
Yeah, one person at a time.
File on the tape.
Okay.
You have as much time as you want, it's just easier if we have one person.
All right.
So the issue is too, which I spoke to Paul about, is that God forbid if something happens at my house, the fire trucks can't even get down the street when they're having a function because the street is so narrow and the cars, the way that they're parked on the street, a larger vehicle, like a fire truck or an ambulance or something, cannot get down the street.
I will have the police and the fire look at that. I'm not aware of that that's been a problem. It's never been brought to our attention. council has the right to make streets one-way, council has the right to put no parking, we're allowed to do all that kind of stuff, but we do always refer to our public safety before we make those kind of decisions, because it would be a hardship on the neighborhood, the VFW, and all that stuff, so it would be a hardship on them, so we want to make sure before we do it.
And I have a question, why, since there's poles on the street, why can't they just put signs on the poles saying like, no parking on this side of the street, or resident parking only?
We can, we'd have to pass an ordinance,
Okay.
and it would become law. But like you said, the VFW is very successful, so there's a lot of people going there. If we make it all no parking, where are they going to move all those cars? We have to be aware of that those cars are going to go somewhere.
Well, now what it's doing is, it's creating an issue for me, being a taxpayer, because.
Well, we're definitely going to look into it.
Like now I'm getting into altercations with these other people, which I'm like, can't even move or get around, and these people are being aggressive to me, where I'm just asking.
So the only question I have,
Have you called the police?
Yes, this has been like.
well, can I stop you for a second? Why can't we get you a handicap parking spot? That's the easiest thing for council to do.
Well, can they put it in front of?
Right in front of your house.
That's fine.
Didn't Paul offer that to you?
No.
What, you have a driveway, right?
Yes.
Paul won't give you a handicap parking lot if you have a parking spot.
Yeah.
If you have a driveway.
Handicap parking spaces on the street are for.
People without a driveway.
Driveway.
But her driveway is very narrow. Is that the issue? Your driveway is very narrow?
And then when people are like
Okay.
on both sides and in front, I can't get in and out, and
Well-
I can't walk
Say,
down the
one
driveway.
spot will give her a little.
It would give you room, but why don't you allow us to put this triangle in first? And then Ms. Kelly will talk to our fire and police, mostly just fire. If our fire department says they can't get the ambulance down there now, I've never heard of that,
That
ever.
would definitely be an issue.
So I'm very surprised,
For everyone.
yeah, that they couldn't get down there, but we'll find out about that.
Now, if there's no events, then they can, but if there's events
No,
going on,
you're,
then they can't.
if they can't get down there, we have to look into that. But I would think that all those streets, 6th, 7th, 5th, they're all narrow, and, you know, so we, I don't know, our fire trucks are big, but they're only 8 feet wide, so they're not much wider than a pickup truck. So if a pickup truck can make it down your street, the fire truck should be able to make it down your street. Yeah, we're gonna let them look at it.
Yeah, apparently Paul knows about this issue, and he said the street does need to be widened, so I don't know what that.
Well, I guess that's great that he understands that the street needs to be widened. That's, I guess he's an engineer.
Well, police out there with the shovels.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Did you want to come talk, Mr.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'm Leroy Arcade, so basically we should.
No, address again.
Well.
We have to state it for the record.
26.
Okay. 6th Avenue.
Right, yeah. So, for example, if an ambulance comes down the street, right, and cars are like this, there's no way an ambulance can turn and back to the driveway. Because she had a time before where an ambulance came where they had nothing across the street and they looked into the driveway. But there's cars on the street, left and right, they can't.
And my driveway's
stick to the
so
driveway.
steep
Okay.
that they had an issue trying to get up the
Okay,
ambulance.
but they don't have to go in the driveway
Well,
necessarily.
they couldn't, that's what I'm saying,
Okay.
they had no place like.
Because we have many, many streets in town where you have parking on both sides and the
So
ambulance
he was
can't
like,
be
you were having an
catered.
event, I called 911 because I had the medical emergency.
Okay.
My driveway was so steep, they couldn't even get up the driveway.
Okay, we can't go back and forth.
Big issue.
So we will definitely look into it, but we'll get you those triangles as soon as the machine is fixed.
Why
Okay.
can't you just take the yellow curve right in front of her
Well,
house?
they're doing the trial.
We are.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do, but we're gonna go out into the street.
So, there's, like in front of her house, her sister is handicapped too.
Let us try.
So
Yeah,
if you put a handicap spot right in front of her house, nobody park there.
But he's-
Does she live at the street? Does she live at the address?
She doesn't live
She doesn't live there though, correct?
her sister.
Your
No,
sis-
she does.
And she's handicapped?
How many cars
Yes,
she
she-
just
me and my sister are twins, and we both have MS.
She was just here, yeah.
Okay, and I had spinal surgery.
So, but excuse me for a second,
How many cars can park in your driveway?
Well, 1.5, because if you put 2, now you're on the sidewalk.
okay, so what, so we can give you a handicap parking spot?
I'm asking because if you can't get 2 cars in your driveway.
You can't.
And you have 2 handicapped individuals living in the property, we might be able then to give you the handicap spot, 1 handicap spot in front of your house.
Okay,
That's
yeah,
the
because if 2 cars are in the driveway, you're hanging out on the
Okay,
sidewalk.
and you don't do that then? You don't bring 2 cars in the driveway?
No, because I don't want to hang out on the sidewalk, because then people will have issues.
We're gonna make a quick change. We're gonna get the chief to go back out there, and you're just gonna let him know that there are 2 handicap licensed people in there, and we'll get a handicap right in front of your house.
Cool.
Because that would be much better
That would be.
than the yellow.
You didn't know about the sister.
Well, she just moved in with me a couple of months ago.
Okay.
So she didn't always live.
She lives there forever.
But,
Yeah, she did it now.
All right,
but
thank
now
you.
she's here forever.
Twin,
Yeah.
just come in, change your shirt, come back in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, do you need anything from my our doctors or anything?
Paul is in charge of that. He has to sign the paperwork to give you that spot, and then Public Works will put it in.
Okay, appreciate that.
Okay, that'll make a big difference.
Yeah, thank you so
Great,
much.
My man.
thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
My man, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen.
Is there anyone else? Mr. Roman, please?
Good evening.
Good evening, Charlie.
Charles Roman, 417 West 3rd, Emergency Management Coordinator. That we, Mrs. Kelly already brought up about FEMA.
Yeah.
We haven't told the residents until the 29th to go to Barrington, but the date from the state is October 21st of 2019.
Okay.
That's the deadline. So I'm going to try to reach out to our residents to file a claim and give them a form.
So there's 14 houses, you're gonna let those 14?
Right,
People know.
because I'm sure they can't make it to.
No, that's very good.
By Friday. Because,
That's great.
That we doing that today.
That's
Okay,
great. So
good.
you're gonna let each homeowner know that financing is available, the small business loan?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very
And the
good.
interest rate is very good, 1.9 something.
Yeah, 1.9.
Yeah, it's very good.
Okay,
So,
thank
I mean,
you.
It certainly would
That's great.
be worth their
I wasn't sure
while.
when those gonna let the homeowner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm doing?
And they don't have to make it by the 29th?
I'm gonna change your paid hourly. I'm gonna change your friggin' paid hourly, then you can sit here.
So you'll visit everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The other thing I have is pertaining to what this resident just said about the VFW parking, the driver keeps exit water. It's the same problem, like you said, the streets are small. You have the same problem on East Third Avenue with a mile. Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays, you're lucky you can get these apparatus up through there or whatever park.
Okay.
It's the whole problem for the whole town, like you said.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Charlie.
Okay, have a good night.
Anyone else?
Bobby.
Okay.
Bobby knows what I want.
Oh, jeez. Okay, seeing no one else, is there a motion to close the public portion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Lowenstein, second by Mr. Ranieri, all in favor?
Aye.
Public portion is closed. Is there a motion to pay the monthly bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Motion by Mr. Lowenstein, second by Ms. Kelly. We're not done yet. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Keller? Yes. Mr. Farrell?
Yes.
Mr. Lobenstein?
Yes.
Mrs. Passio? Yes. Mr. Ranieri?
Yes.
Mr. Rudy?
All right, the bill should be paid. We're going to have a quick closed session. Hopefully everyone can stay. We'll say thank you to Mr. Bayshore. We'll say thank you to Mr. Wozon. Can stay. In this particular case, Mr. Diorio, we can say thank you to you. And in the audience, we're not going to have any action after the meeting, so we want to thank all of you for coming out. Thank you.
We're going into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel and contract.
Yes.
And we will be approximately 10 minutes.
Yes.
And when we return, we will not take any action.
Yes. Everybody got that?
That's the motion.
That's the motion. Would someone like to approve the motion?
I will so approve that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? All in favor? All right, we are officially in closed session.